please rise and judge character?
What? Thank you. You may be seated. All right, today's court proceedings are to determine whether or not our defendant, Abigail Williams, is guilty of murder. I would now ask the prosecuting team to step forward with your opening statements.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tori Lyles, and I'm the head attorney for this case, the People versus Abigail Williams. I will be representing the people of Salem. In the spring of 1692, Miss Abigail Williams was accused of dancing naked in the woods by Reverend Parris, Tituba, and Mary Warren. Mary Warren, being one of her friends that night, has admitted to dancing naked and practicing witchcraft. Tituba has also admitted of seeing these young girls dancing naked in the woods. She admitted all of this to Reverend Hale. Abigail is accused of having an affair with Mr. John Proctor by his wife, Miss Elizabeth Proctor. Elizabeth then dismissed Abigail from their home. Mr. Proctor then realized his mistake and knew it was wrong, so he separated himself from Abigail. It is said that Abigail Williams has led many children of God to commit a crime because they are worshippers of Satan. Abigail has lied, deceived, and misled the town of Salem to believe that just overnight, all these young women and children of God are now practicing witchcraft. In conclusion, with these lies and her stories, she has made 19 innocent people die, and for that she must be punished. Those 19 guiltless, God-loving people should not have died because of a selfish, foolish 17-year-old. Abigail Williams only wanted attention from John Proctor in the town of Salem. She must be punished for these unlawful acts and murders of 19 people in which they did not need to die. We, the prosecution, want her charged with murder of those 19 unimpeachable people of Salem. We want justice. Thank you.
At this time, I would ask the defense to step up with their opening statements as well. Please make sure we do want to address the jury, okay?
Our client, Abigail Williams, is innocent of the charges of murder that are laid against her. She was charged with the murder of 19 people in Salem. Put yourself in Abigail's shoes. She's a young girl in this town that oppresses women. They don't have a lot of rights. The men get all the decisions. They own all the land. So, Abigail is found dancing in the woods, okay? She's definitely guilty of that, but, that's not really a big crime. Oh, you're dancing in the woods, It's a Puritan society, you're not supposed to do it. She's caught for that. The punishment for that is whipping. She would have been whipped for that and shamed the rest of her life. Upon being caught, she confesses, she repents, all that stuff, and they ask who she saw, because this is the only way she's going to get off. Like, they pressure her, like, who else do you see, Abigail? Do you see anyone? Surely you signed the devil's book, all this stuff. She admits to that, and she has to throw someone else under the bus. If she's like, oh, well, I didn't see anyone, they're not going to believe it. They're going to be like, nah, back to the whipping post with you. Abigail is just a scared young girl who is doing her best to get by. She had no choice, and she was a victim of circumstance. Can we really blame Abigail in this town where if you do anything remotely fun, anything wrong, you're going to get whipped, shamed, public humiliated, or worse? Like, they killed people just for being accused of witchcraft. If anyone had said, oh, yeah, that girl who's dancing in the woods, yeah, I think she's a witch, Abigail would have surely died. Right? So, her choices were kind of point the finger to others, or be on the axe herself. Thank you.
All right, I do ask, please, no reaction from the witnesses or the jury. Right now, we're going to have the prosecution call their first witness to the stand.
Can Tituba please come to the stand?
Tituba, I ask you to please place your right hand on the book. And hold your left hand up. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated.
I do.
Tituba, did you work for the Parris family?
Yes.
Why were they dancing in the woods, all the girls that you were with that night?
I was talking to you love charms.
Who planned the dancing in the woods?
I did.
Did you see Abigail drink chicken blood?
Yes.
Did you hear her say she wanted to kill Goody Proctor?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Please remain seated. At this time, I ask the defense, do you have any questions for the witness?
Yes.
Were you there the night that the girls were in the forest?
Yes.
Did you or did you not lead the chant in the forest?
I did.
Do you think that the devil played a hand in the witchcraft taken in Salem?
No.
But it states that you went as far as you did state that the witchcraft was taking place.
Did you or did you not state that you were participating in witchcraft in the forest? Yes.
So you believe that the devil forced Abby to do all these things?
Yes.
No further questions.
Prosecution, would you like to follow up with any further questions?
Yes. When you were accused of seeing the devil, what was happening in that very moment? Were you getting whipped by someone or getting tortured?
No.
It's really hard to. Hold on. Make sure we're referring to. Order. Make sure we refer to the book and not the film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
Jury, I'm just going to ask you to please disregard those last statements. Any further questions from either group? All right, thank you, Tituba. You may be seated. All right, at this time, the defense will call their first witness to the stand.
We'd like to call Reverend Harris to the stand.
Please place your right hand on the literature book. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah, you may be seated.
As the head of the church, do you carry a lot of power in town?
Yes,
What type of people would you say have the most power in Salem?
the men, all the women that go to church every day.
Do you consider yourself a morally good person?
Of course, I'm the head of the church.
Did you justify your obsession with wealth, why you feel you need to have golden candlesticks and other such things?
To serve God.
Except they serve God perfectly well beforehand. So, Mr. Paris, one of the most influential and morally good, supposedly, based on his association with the church, is a man based on materialistic gain. His requesting of more tithes could have started the unrest that discontented the town. Do you have anything to say about that? No further questions?
Please stay seated, Mr. Harris. I will ask that you please speak a little bit louder and clearer for the jury. At this time, prosecution, do you have any questions for the witness?
I do. Reverend Ferris, is it true that you walked in on the ladies dancing in the forest?
Yes.
Did you ever witness anything else besides dancing?
No.
And did you ever report what you saw? No further questions.
Would the defense like to follow up with anything? Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this time, I'll ask the prosecution to please call up their second witness.
Can I have Rebecca Nurgent please come to the stand?
Please place your hand on the Bible, or on the literature Bible. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
When did you notice the kids were faking during when you went to examine Miss Becca Harris when she was not winking?
Basically, like, the start of it, when it all started happening, I just kind of noticed, like,
I don't know, kids be kids.
Why do you think you were accused of witchcraft?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I'm a pretty good moral person, and I have 11 kids. I don't see anything wrong with me.
Why did you never confess to witchcraft?
Because they're lying.
No further questions.
I would ask you to clarify who is they.
Like Abigail and the girls.
Thank you. At this time, defense, do you have any questions for Rebecca Nurse?
Yes.
Were you sentenced to hang for witchcraft?
Yeah. Yes.
Who do you believe sentenced you?
Abigail.
But wasn't it Judge Danforth that sentenced her to death?
Yes.
So technically Abby didn't sentence you to death.
But Abigail.
Yes or no? Please answer the question, yes or no. Rephrase the question, the defense, will you please re-ask the question?
Was Judge Danforth the one to finalize your sentence?
Yeah.
No further questions.
Prosecution?
No further questions.
Okay. You may be seated, thank you.
Landry.
At this time, I'll ask the defense to ask their second witness to the stand.
We call Judge Danforth to the
Please place your right hand on the literature book. Hold up your left hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Do you consider yourself a good and honorable man?
As a man of the law, I do.
Yet you don't follow laws normal courts do. Why did you and your fellow judiciaries decide to accept forms of evidence that normally wouldn't be accepted?
Well, because we didn't have any real evidence, so spectral evidence was the next option.
But other witch trials in both Europe and the Americas require more evidence than just spectral evidence. Why, when taking confessions, did you pressure confessors to accuse more people?
To get all of the witches out of Salem.
But what if there were no more witches? Then you'd be just accusing more innocent people. Do you even care about the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yet you condemned several people that respectable citizens of Salem believed weren't actually guilty. They were sentenced and you wouldn't even postpone their execution to provide more time to get more evidence. Does that sound like someone who cares about if they were actually innocent or not?
I guess not.
No further questions.
Judge Danforth, who came to accuse other women of witchcraft?
A lot of people. Do you want me to name some?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, John Proctor did. And secondly, Mary Warren.
Hold on, I'm gonna ask, please refrain from, I don't believe John Proctor was the one that accused people of witchcraft.
Oh,
You can't trust them.
Hold on,
wait.
please. Hold on. Please re-ask the question, a little bit louder, clear.
Who came to you and accused people?
Abigail.
Please say your full name.
Abigail Williams.
Why did you believe Abigail on every account?
Because she was saying demons, and I think it's kind of hard to believe it was a coincidence that she was stabbed by a needle, and then there was also a needle in the puppet, so that's kind of hard not to believe.
And did you sentence Rebecca?
Yes.
Thank you. Follow-up questions? Judge Danforth, you may take your seat. All right, order. At this time, I'll ask the prosecution to ask their third witness to the stand.
May I have Reverend Hale come to the stand?
Yeah.
Please place your right hand on the literature book. Hold up your left hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Okay, you may take a seat.
What made you realize that the people that you sentenced to death were innocent?
Well, because there are more people of the church, they did attend church, and I figured that they were not guilty as such.
What the self-belief of Abigail Williams believed that she saw witches in the witchcraft in Salem? What really sold you that there was?
Well, they all started, probably the Christian the most of all, but there are many different cases that show witchcraft.
What's the difference between Salem and the other town in Dover?
Well, in Dover is a whole nother case, but in Salem, I think there's a lot deeper meaning than just witchcraft, because there's a lot of bad voice thrown around.
Why did you drop out of the court?
Because they accused John Proctor of witchcraft, and I think he was a good Christian man. I mean, he built the church. He had actually, constructed a place of worship. I don't think a follower of Satan would do that.
Why did you come to Salem?
I came to Salem because they needed assistance. There was accusations of witchcraft afoot, and they needed a witch expert.
No further questions.
Thank you. This time I'll ask the defense, do you have any questions?
Okay, were you called in this town to handle the witch problem?
I was.
Did you or did you not claim that children were being consulted with the devil?
They did.
Okay, so is it right to assume that had you not made these accusations that the town would not claim this as witchcraft?
Well, with the sufficient evidence that they suspected their witches.
They didn't have sufficient evidence before you arrived.
But the children were acting like they were being possessed.
But is it possible to assume that your presence made matters worse and made the town wreak havoc?
Yes or no? Ask the question again, Eddie.
Is it possible to assume that your presence in the town caused the town to wreak havoc and make matters worse?
Yes.
So would you say that your presence made people accuse others out of fear?
Yes or no?
Yes.
No further questions.
You may take a seat. Barbara Hill, thank you. At this time, I'll ask the defense to call up their third witness.
We'd like to call up Mrs. Pam Putnam.
Please place your hand on the literature book. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please take your seat.
What responsibilities does a woman have in Salem?
To be a good housewife and do as my husband says.
How important is it to find a good husband and be a good wife?
It is the most important after worshiping God.
Is your husband an influential man in town?
Yes, he's a godly man. He has lots of land.
Has your husband ever mentioned anyone ever wronging him?
So, he's mentioned his frustration with Giles Court.
Is it possible your daughter might have heard him discussing this?
Yes,
So, is it possible that the girls were being influenced by the men in town who were talking about their grievances with each other?
it's possible.
When they were asked to accuse people in court, the first things that came to mind were the things they heard the men talking about. No further questions.
Thank you. No further questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you may take your seat.
At this time, I'm going to ask the prosecution to ask their fourth witness to the stand, please.
Would Elizabeth Parker please come to the stand?
Please place your hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, please take your seat.
What is your relationship with God?
I'm a covenanted Christian.
Were you aware of John Proctor and Abigail Williams of affair when you kicked her out?
I was.
Why did you lie about the lechery in court?
Because I love my husband, and I thought by lying I was protecting him and protecting his name.
Why do you think you were accused of witchcraft?
Because Abigail hates me. Because she wanted John.
Is there any other reason why you kicked her out of your house?
At the time I was sick, and I feared that John was turning away from me and towards her, so I kicked her out.
I have no more questions.
Thank you very much. Ask John Proctor to please stay silent in the witness.
Do you believe yourself to be a good Christian woman?
I do.
It states in the Ten Commandments that thou shalt not lie, but you lied in court. So how do you consider yourself a good Christian woman?
I believe that my lying was good at heart.
So are you trying to justify placing against the Ten Commandments?
Yes
What
or
I
no?
did was-
Yes or no?
Yes.
Doesn't it also state in the commandments that thou shalt not commit adultery?
It does.
Did you or did you not say that your husband was being distant from you?
I did.
So would you consider him a good holy man as well?
I do.
Well, how could you attest for John being a good man if he broke his commandments?
Because he has paid for his sins.
If he is the best man this town has to offer, how are the young women in this town supposed to have a good role model?
The women of this town are good Christian women as well, and they should be their role models, as well as the men who also are good Christian men.
No further questions.
Execution.
No further questions.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, very good. All right, at this time, I'm going to ask the defense to call up their fourth witness, please.
We would call the warrant to stand.
Please place your hand on the book. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Were you and the other girls dancing in the park?
Yes.
Why?
We are teenage girls, we just wanted to have fun. We didn't think we would get caught. We were just messing around.
Why did you all blame Tituba?
We panicked when we were afraid of the punishment when we were caught. She loved the dancing and showed us magic tricks from Barbados before, so we weren't going to do lying by them.
What sort of punishment would you get for dancing?
We would have been whipped.
And it would have been in public too?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead. Being whipped in public is a shame that would have followed them for the rest of their lives. This could have affected their chances of finding a good husband and starting a good family, which Ms. Putnam clarified is the most important thing said for women in this society. Getting caught and being punished would have essentially ruined their lives. Would you say you lived Tituba just because you were afraid? Yes. Afraid of having your life ruined? No more questions.
Thank you very much.
Mary Lauren, what was your relationship with Proctor's?
I was their house.
And did you make the puppet get into great Proctor?
Yes.
Was Abigail sitting next to you when you made the puppet?
Yes.
Did you put the needle in the puppet?
I did just to keep it there when I was making the puppet.
Were you involved in the dancing chorus?
Yes.
Were you involved in it?
No.
But then why did Abigail blame you for witchcraft?
Because I guess since I was there, she needed someone else to blame as well as the other girls.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Hold on. Do you have any follow-up?
Would you say Abigail blames you for the same reason you guys blamed Tituba? Because she was scared?
Okay, hold on. Be clear with your question.
Okay.
Be specific.
So Abigail blamed you. And you all blamed Tituba because you were afraid.
Yes.
Would you say Abigail blamed
hold on. No, you're good,
Mary Warren, if you did say that John Proctor was a good Christian man, why did you then go against him and say he was worshiping the devil?
And I was scared.
Scared of what?
Scared of dying. Scared of being shamed by the town.
Any further questions?
Thank you, Mary Warren. At this time, I will ask the prosecution to please call up their fifth and final witness.
Will John Proctor please come to the stand?
Please, John Proctor, please place your right hand on the literature book. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may take your seat. We'll ask for order in the court, please.
Are you a godly, Christian man? Are you a good Christian man?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Do you know your 10 Commandments?
Yes, I do.
Will you please recite them?
I am the Lord thy God. You shall have no other gods before me. Do not take the Lord's name in vain. Excuse me. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Honor thy mother and thy father. Do not commit murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness against your neighbor, and do not covet.
Thank you. Why do you think Abigail accused your wife of being a witch?
Oh, it's obvious. We were lovers in the nighttime.
Order.
We were former lovers when she was taking care of our house, and she never got over me. I got over her because I love my wife Elizabeth and I recognize my sin. She has not, and she clearly wants me, and that's why.
How did you know Abigail was lying about the whole witchcraft?
Oh, I even remember the conversation. It was quite clear because I was talking to her. I was like, "The town's mumbling witchcraft." I said that specifically, and she was like, she goes, "Oh, posh, we were just dancing in the woods, and my uncle came and called us." So clearly, she just states that they were just dancing. So.
How is your relationship with your wife?
I love my wife very much. We love each other. And of course, I'm a fool. I made a very big mistake, and I have prayed and prayed for forgiveness. And of course, God is gracious and merciful, and He has forgiven me. My wife has forgiven me, and we've moved on from that. We love each other very much.
I have no more further questions.
Thank you.
So you would consider yourself a good holy man?
Yes, ma'am.
How often did you go to church?
Well, you can't really look at that because, first of all,
Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Okay.
Why didn't you go to church very much?
Well, first my wife was sick, and of course you can ask, why did you not go alone? Well, if my wife is very sick, and in this day and age, if she dies while I'm not there, and I could have done something for that, what kind of person would I be? Because I'm supposed to honor my wife. And of course, is the basis of your faith off church attendance? I don't think so. It's look at your heart. If you love God, then you have to look at your heart. So you don't really know. And I love God with all my heart. Of course, I've committed some sins, but I've been forgiven of those, every single one. So I don't think you look at church attendance as the biggest thing. It's, do I love God?
Did you or did you not commit adultery with Abigail Williams?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I do. I'm excited for your next question.
Order.
So, how did you manage to find time to have an affair with Abigail Williams if you were supposedly taking care of your sick wife?
In the nighttime. She's asleep.
But she was your nighttime lover.
Yeah. It's exact. That's what he did in the nighttime. What? Thank you, Taylor Jackson. Yeah, she's asleep. We did it.
Okay. All right, next question, please. Next question.
As we've seen previously, you know your commandments. You seem pretty confident in knowing this. So, John, the supposed good holy man, did you just happen to forget adultery while you were in court last time?
Ooh. Well, first, I'd like to talk to you about that. You know, are you asking?
Did you answer the question?
Are you
yes
asking?
or no? Yes or no? Rephrase the question to yes or no.
Did you happen to forget your commandments while you were committing a sin?
You gotta rephrase the question. I honestly do not understand how that. Are they saying, did I
Okay,
forget?
question. Last time you were in court, is it true that you forgot adultery?
Yes, it is.
And also, since you know your commandments so confidently, did you happen to forget the adultery commandment while you were committing it?
I did, but when you look at that,
No, I don't
oh,
need
come
any
on.
explanation.
Oh, I could go in on this.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Yes or no?
Yes.
So as you see yourself as a good holy man, you should be seen as a role model in this town, but how are you seen as a role model when you are breaking your commandments?
So, let me go into this. Okay, so in the Bible it clearly says that no person is perfect. So what I did was wrong. I committed a sin. But doesn't every single person sin? In the New Testament, Jesus says, even if you look at a woman, it's adultery. If you look at her sinfully, it's adultery. So basically, all sin is the same. So,
Okay, we'll in there.
all sin's the same. I committed a sin, I've been forgiven for that. Okay, if somebody thinks they're perfect, then they're clearly wrong because they have not read the Bible.
So you're justifying your sin.
I'm not justifying it.
Okay, yeah.
It was a wrong.
Yes or no? Yes, make it yes or no, Maddie. Yes or no?
I am not justifying my sin.
Okay.
No further questions.
Okay. Y'all got something?
Why did you commit your adultery?
Us as people are wicked and lustful, and I was not thinking as a godly man, I was thinking as a lustful man, and I lusted and committed a sin.
How were you forgiven?
So, since we're imperfect, and there's in the Old Testament, people had to sacrifice bulls in order to atone for their sins. When Jesus died on the cross, that was all forgiven. So every time we sin, every time something happens, Jesus comes and we are forgiven. Because of his blood on the cross, we are forgiven. And that's how I'm forgiven, because of what Jesus did on the cross.
Do you believe God has forgiven all your sins?
Absolutely. God has it.
Yes or no? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
What did you do that helped your church, the new church built?
I built it.
Why was the reason why you never went to church?
My wife was ill.
Did you not like anyone in the church, or was it just...
I did not believe in the teachings of Reverend Paris because what he taught was very materialistic and not of what the Bible.
So do you believe that because you helped build the walls of the church that God forgives you?
Yes or no?
No. Building something doesn't help me forgive my sins because I love God, that's why. God forgives me because I love him, that's why.
To clarify, not because of the church, but because he's a Christian.
Because I'm a good Christian man.
No further questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
No?
Hold on. Y'all,
Yeah. Sweet. Oh my God. Sweet. I'll say it.
So would you say that Reverend Paris was lacking in biblical teaching?
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you assume these people to learn proper biblical teaching and know what's right and wrong that they're lacking?
Because if we get a preacher in here that is not going off the Bible, but is going clearly from the text, you can't just assume stuff from the Bible. When you read the Bible, you can't just get your own meaning from it, You gotta look straight in the Bible and see what it says. We need a preacher in here that teaches from the Bible, not materialistic worldly views, but straight from the Bible.
Alright, I'm going to clarify their meaning and give me a yes or no. Is it possible that Reverend Paris could have led people astray with his preachings?
Yes.
No further questions.
Alright, any further questions? Okay, thank you, John Proctor. That was very entertaining. Alright, at this time, I will ask the defense to call their final witness to the stand.
We'd like to call Abigail Williams to the stand.
Please place your hand on the literature book. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Tell us about your childhood.
Sorry, I was crying through the night, so I kind of lost my voice. Well, as a young child, I witnessed one night Native Americans came into my home and they smashed my parents' heads with rocks.
Why?
It's so very emotional. And so, since I had to witness that at such a young age, I've been very defensive towards myself in order to protect myself when I feel threatened.
Thank you, Abigail. So when in a threatened situation, you might do whatever you need to do to survive.
Yes.
Do you agree with what Mary Warren said about why the girls went to Tituba?
Yes, because we panicked because all we were doing was just having fun, and it was just logical at the time. But Tituba was one that took it and played into it, and started confessing and blaming others.
What do you think would have happened if you confessed to lying to Luke?
We would have been pain. So like the accused, we either would have had to lie or die.
So do you think you're responsible for what happened in Salem?
No, because we panicked after getting caught messing around in the woods, so we blamed Tituba. It's not our fault. The men in society oppressed us, and they took it out of proportion and blew it up. They kept asking who we saw and what we saw, and then they started naming random people that weren't even accused. I did not decide which evidence they could take, and I didn't refuse to listen, and I did not sign any death warrants. I was just trying to keep myself and the other girls safe.
So you kept accusing people because the people of the court, the people of Salem, kept asking you to accuse them.
Yes, the men of the society.
And if you didn't say that, do you think they would have turned on you?
Would have turned on me.
And just like Mary Warren did, if one of you decided to speak out, they would have started blaming you also. And you do not feel responsible for any of the deaths because you were the one who signed the death warrant.
No, I did not.
You were not the one in court who decided if they were guilty or innocent.
No, I did not.
You just answered when they asked you for evidence. Evidence that shouldn't have even been taken in the first place. No further questions.
Abigail, is it true that you work with doctors?
Yes.
And what are your feelings about Betty Crocker?
She's a nice woman who took her children, who loved her children and her family.
Do you believe that she's a good Christian woman?
Yes.
And is it true that you committed lechery with John Proctor?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because,
Do you have feelings for John Proctor, yes or no?
not anymore.
Did you have feelings for
Yes,
John
I
Proctor?
did have feelings for John Proctor.
So you previously said that the people that were accused, that you accused,
I didn't accuse them.
then how did they come to the court?
Because the men of the society asked us many different things, and they forced us to say random things, so we either have to lie or die.
But on trial, when they were to the judge and saying they did not do it, you keep saying they see their spirit. You fainted, and you said you were ice cold. How can you do that?
Next question. Next question. Next question. Next question.
So you have admitted that the people that were accused did have to lie or they would die.
Yes, and since I didn't accuse them, I didn't sign the death warrants, I wasn't in charge.
But you accused a lot of people. You said Goody Potter came to my room and bit me.
Please reframe it to a yes or no question.
Is it true that you told the court that Goody Proctor came to your room as a spirit and bit you?
Yes.
Tell the truth, Abigail.
Yes.
But you just told me that you didn't accuse anyone.
I didn't accuse anyone of their death. I'm not in charge of what the court thinks, but I'm not.
I didn't say, did you accuse them of their death? I said, did you accuse them of witchcraft?
Yes,
But you just told me you didn't.
I think I misread the question the first time.
So did you accuse women of witchcraft?
Yes,
So you did say previously that the people that you accused had to lie or die.
yes,
So you know that they weren't witches because they had to lie.
yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Just to clarify some things,
Order.
you yourself had to lie because if you didn't, they would turn on you.
Yes.
And you were afraid of the
Who's
punishment.
they?
The men in the court.
Please clarify that statement one more time.
Were you afraid that the men of the court would turn on you if you stopped giving them the evidence they asked for?
Yes.
Okay. And you were not responsible for their deaths because you did not decide if they were guilty or innocent, and you did not sign those death warrants.
No, I don't.
Okay. In the case of John Proctor, you did commit lechery,
Yes.
but John Proctor was the adult in the situation. He was the one who was married,
Yes.
and you were just the child who worked in his house, who was smitten by his charms.
Yes.
No further questions?
You said when you accused the women and or men at the town, they were either guilty of witchcraft or they had lied. You lied when it's a sin to lie. Why would you? Just because you're gonna get in trouble for what you chose to do, you shouldn't be punished. You punish other people.
Okay, please.
Are you God to decide who dies or not? God.
No, and I didn't decide who died.
You
I didn't
accused.
sign any death warrants, therefore I wasn't in charge of if the judge or whoever put them to get hanged.
But you accused the people of witchcraft when they.
Don't accuse, you give her a yes or no, give her a yes or no, so you get your point, but get your yes or no. You have it, Landry, you have it, just get in a yes or no question.
Did you accuse of people when they thought something were wrong of you? Or did you feel threatened? Like when they threatened that you weren't seeing witchcraft, did you accuse them?
Yes, to save my life.
Your life wasn't in danger though. You would have got a whipping. It hurts, but it's not death.
Alright, at this time, I'm gonna ask prosecution, I will give you one more question to ask the witness.
Did you lie about seeing witches?
Yes.
Defense, I'll give you one more question as well.
One more question?
Okay,
Except one.
3 questions.
No, one. They get one.
Order. Hey, the head attorneys come here to the table, please, and stand. Head attorneys to the stand, please.
When it comes
Hold on, take a seat real quick, take a seat. Take a seat, others, take a seat. Yes, please.
Am I supposed to go over there too?
Hey. Hey, you gotta be mean. You have to be like, son of a reach.
Order.
Okay, would you say that the punishment you would have received from him saying was whipping, but the worst part would be the shame that would follow you the rest of your life?
Yes.
And sorry, let me make sure I'm phrasing this correctly. And when it came to the people in court, also lied and then in their turn accused more people.
Yes.
And then you just had to give evidence for that because the men of the court came to you and said, did you also see these people?
Yes.
And if you went, oh, can I follow that line?
One more question.
And if you, oh my goodness, I just lost what I was about to say, I'm sorry. Okay. So they in turn accused people and they came to you for information. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was about to say.
You're okay.
It's a,
You have no further questions, it's okay.
I guess the final one would be, once again, do you believe you're guilty?
No.
Because you've been signed a death warrant.
Oh, is yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Alright, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alright, I will allow you, if you have any more questions, you get 3 more.
Did the men of the village force you to say who were accused or not?
Yes.
Did they physically harm you to say what they wanted?
Yes. I got my hair pulled.
Who pulled your hair?
At one point John Proctor did.
Okay, one more question. One more question.
Did you accuse Goody Proctor of witchcraft because you were in love with John at the time?
No, because I was in love with John before the whole witchcraft thing came about.
Okay, thank you very much. Take your seat. Alright, Abigail Williams, thank you very much for your testimony. You may take your seat. Jury, I'm going to ask you to please do your best to sort through that testimony as best you can. Alright, at this time, order.
Do I keep going?
Yes, you know, we got our closing statements.
Okay.
At this time, we'll have our closing statements. Prosecution is up first. Please make sure this will be the last thing the jury leaves with today. Okay?
Well, as you can see, we have called some witnesses, and they all gave their side of the story, what they know, and what they believe is to be true. We called up our 5 witnesses to testify against the defendant's guilt. I had mentioned we wanted to charge Abigail with murder of 13 people who were hung for practicing witchcraft. As each witness testified, we established the following. Abigail was seen dancing naked in the woods. She drank chicken blood. The other girls that were there did practice witchcraft and did ungodly things, and she had sexual relations with Mr. John Proctor, and did a spell on Miss Elizabeth Proctor, because Abigail wanted Mr. Proctor to herself. Instead of Abigail being smart and go to her uncle about this, she decided to be an immature 17-year-old and lied and blamed other people. She lied compulsively to keep herself safe and to be charged with witchcraft. We, the prosecution, would like to ask you, the jury, look at the facts and replay the witness's testimony. Don't let Abigail get away with this. She needs to be punished for what she has done. Imagine if it was you who was in my next ring and you knew you were innocent. She needs to be brought to justice.
At this time, I will ask the defense to please give their closing statements. Please make sure we give the defense their full attention.
Having had all the witnesses speak, we hope to have proven that Abigail is not guilty of the murder of the 19 people. They mentioned that Abigail is just a immature 17-year-old girl. She is just that. She is an immature 17-year-old girl. She made some mistakes. Sure, she lied a little bit, but she's trying to keep her own neck safe. She's trying not to die. She can't be like, oh, I didn't see anyone else. Oh, yeah, okay, Abigail, off to the hanging post with you. She would die. She has to lie, or she would die. She can't turn on the other girls. They would accuse her. The men in the town are really who's at fault here. They keep goading her to accuse more people. We have Mr. Putnam, who's like, hey, daughter of mine, go accuse this person. I want their land. Things he actually did. Mr. Danforth, Judge Danforth, I apologize, doesn't seem to care whether people are guilty or not. He signs their death warrants. He tells Abigail to keep accusing people. He keeps the witch hunt going. And then even some of the best people in town, Reverend Harris, should be a great role model. Incredibly greedy. Awful. John Proctor. A lot of the town looks up to John Proctor. He's an adulterer. He skips church. Awful Lawful trial conduct, just,
Order.
sorry, Paul, you're good. Don't hang this 17-year-old girl or sentence her with the murder of 19 people. She's innocent. Anyone would have done that. I would say anything if someone accused me of witchcraft and I knew I was gonna die, I would say anything to not be the person who died.